Hey guys, welcome back to Snowball Investing. I know this is my first video in a little while. I've had some personal stuff I've had to deal with, but those are sorted, so I'm excited to get right back into it. I'll be making monthly portfolio update videos as I did before, and yeah, let's jump straight into the April updates. Starting off with the stocks and shares ISA, the value of this sits at £85,341, and the overall portfolio is up by 25,341. Looking at the yearly chart for this portfolio, we've had a pretty good start to the year. So looking at the 1st of January, it was around 72,000. Obviously, we had the pop after the Palantir earnings when it shot up quite a lot. So that's the reason for that big jump. And since January, the market has generally been heading up in a straight line. The ISA maxed out around 96,000 on the 7th of March. But since then, the market's taken a bit of a downturn given the situation with Israel. So it's been inching down, and now it sits at around 85,000. What I like to do is benchmark my portfolio against a FTSE Wood ETF to understand if I would have been better off with an ETF, which to be honest, most people are. So on the monthly sort of time horizon, the ICE is down by 4.27, where the All World ETF is down by 0.96. But looking at the maximum time horizon, so when I started the portfolio, on a time-weighted rate of return, my portfolio is up by 48.8%, which is fantastic. And the All World ETF is up by 11.9, which it isn't nothing to scoff at. That's also great performance. So looking at the individual position, obviously we're going to start off with Palantir. So the value of this now sits at just beneath 40,000, and it's up by 97.27%. And to me, so much has happened since my last update. There's been so many updates that I just won't go through it all. I'm sure if you own Palantir, you've heard of all the great contracts and great news that has almost come out on a weekly basis, which obviously is great to hear. But I love the trajectory of this company, where they're going. Obviously, they're booming with the AIP product and all the boot camps are doing. And I'm actually very excited to look forward to the earnings as well, which is coming up soon. Just a quick look at the price action. So the price of Palantir peaked around $26. Definitely wasn't buying any at this price range, and it's because of the macro, it's just kind of fallen down a bit into somewhat more reasonable prices. So it's around $20.47. Only now I've started to nibble a little bit. When I say nibble, I mean I bought £200 worth this Friday. But as the price goes down before earnings, I am like to buy more shares. You could make an argument, is richly valued, but I'm a long-term investor. Where do I see this company in 5-10 years? Is it going to outperform the S&P 500, which I think it is? So depending on the price action in the next couple of weeks, I will be buying a bit more heavily. Next up, we have the FTSE All ETF sitting at 69 shares. The value £6,775. And is up by a respectable 18.55%. And this is a reason why I think for most investors, FTSE All ETF is the right way to go. Not financial advice. It's a set and forget. Don't have to track companies, don't have to research companies, and the money will compound over time. But for me, this is almost a money holding position. If some of the other companies take a massive hit, I'm not afraid to liquidate this position to buy individual companies, but that's because I've got a higher risk tolerance than most individuals. Next up, we have my two robust dividend plays. That's Tourist, which is up by 23%, and SL Green Realty, which is up by 77%. And as I walk through this portfolio, what you'll realize is I've actually made a few changes where I've sold some of my less convicted speculative plays and moved more into some more robust dividend solid companies. But these are giving me nice dividends, and I've got no plans to sell them anytime soon. Talking about dividends, let's have a look at the dividends I earned in March 2024. Came to a total of around £55, which is not bad at all. For Meta, which obviously now offers a dividend, £2.21. SR Green Realty, this is on a monthly basis, so that's £13 in March. Microsoft, again, small dividend, £2.25. Truist, a very respectable £36.90. And Intel, which I actually sold out of, that was £1.22. Next up, we have a position which was actually much lower down in my portfolio list in terms of its value, but now has almost tripled in price, and that's Rocket Lab USA. That's because it's taken a massive hit in the past month, and now I've been accumulating shares. Not financial advice, please do not follow me into this position. It is very, very speculative. This could absolutely go to zero, or it could go 10x in 10 years. But it's a company I've been researching a lot. I love where it's going. I do love the prices, although not sure how low it's going to go, but that's fine. I love accumulating the shares. But it is down 11.24%, and I'm excited to see where this company can go in the next 5 to 10 years. So far, it sits at £3,071 and is basically flat or down 0.23%. Price action's been pretty stable the past couple of months. I've not been buying any shares, but I have no doubt they will do a triple beat and the price will likely go up short term after earnings. But there's so many good deals out there that I'm looking to put more money into Palantir and some of the other positions rather than SoFi. Although if it does take a big hit to the share price, I have no issues buying more shares of SoFi. I'm very bullish on this company long term, especially with Anthony Noto as the CEO. Mega caps like Alphabet are doing absolutely fine, so that's up 22%. PayPal, about the same price as it was a couple of months ago. That's still a decent position at £2,805 and is down 8.26%. Next up, we have Meta, which is still an outstanding performer in both of my portfolios. That's up nearly 150%. Microsoft up 50%. Disney's been doing quite well. That sits at a value of £1,277, is up 33%. Another great performer, DraftKings, that's also up 149%, just like Meta. And this is where we start seeing some changes in my portfolio. So Snowflake is a new addition. It's valued at £1,174 and it's down nearly 8%. So I did buy this after the CEO stepped down. So Frank Slootman stepped down and was replaced by Sridhar. And I think it was a good entry price into this company. It's a hyper growth company. It is somewhat richly valued, but I wanted some diversification. I know I'm quite heavy in Palantir, but there's, I think, other technology companies that are going to do well long term, and it's not a one company wins everything. So I think there'll be multiple winners out there, and I wanted a piece of Snowflake in my portfolio. Next up is another new position in my portfolio, which is Hershey's. A bit of a safer dividend play. So the value of this is £1,046 and is down 2.91%. So I did sell some less conviction plays in my portfolio. One of them was Alibaba. The second was Intel. And the third, which I actually took a big loss on, was Boohoo. So I was holding Boohoo for a very long time, and I just needed to understand, is that money better placed elsewhere? And I thought it was, so I did sell out Boohoo, but there's lessons to be learnt there, and I think replaced with a much better quality company, which has taken a bit of a hit in the share price due to cocoa prices. Enphase Energy is down 1.42%, and I don't see the price of this kind of jumping up until interest rates come down. Obviously that's not happened yet. We're not sure what's going to happen, especially given their potential signs. Inflation's a bit more stickier than people realised, but a long-term position, I've got no concerns with Enphase. Just taking a quick look at some of the other smaller positions. Dutch Bros up 11%. Tesla's been absolutely battered. That's down minus 29%. And there's actually another company I've started to dollar cost average in. I think there's going to be short-term headwinds for Tesla, but looking out 10 years, I think they're going to perform excellently. So no issues there. The next two UK stocks, so UK property, that's up 4.58%, Persimmon up 16%, continues to give me dividends, but I'm not looking to increase those anytime soon. AMD is performing quite well, so that's up 62%. Apple's up 5%. Ginkgo Bioworks was a very speculative play, and that's why the position was quite small. Given the market downtrend, this has been hit a lot, so that's down minus 46%. But I'm not losing any sleep, because when I bought these positions, I knew going in it was going to be extremely volatile, and a good chance this potentially could go down to zero. So that concludes the stocks and shares ISA. I do have £6,000 left on the sidelines that I'm ready to deploy as the market starts to trend downwards, and I hope it does, because there's lots of things I want to buy. I also will be using Freetrade as my platform of choice for the next tax share, which has already started, and that's purely because I just want all of my positions in one portfolio rather than multiple providers, and it's easier to track the performance. Moving over to the general investment account, the value of this sits at £17,902, and the portfolio is up by 5,702. This portfolio has been performing quite well over the past year. If we look at the past month, it's kind of pretty much flat. But if you didn't know, I did build out this position when a lot of the big caps got absolutely hit. I know it's a taxable account, but I had maxed out the stocks and shares ISA. I'm not looking to put any more money into this account, so whatever positions are there are going to stay there long term until I need to move the cash into a non-taxable account, or I need it for other things. There aren't a lot of positions in here, but a lot of them are big caps, as I mentioned. So Meta, probably my best performing stock across both of my accounts. So this is up 210%. I was buying this heavily when it was very discounted. Alphabet was another company I was buying on, was heavily discounted, so that's up 37%. Amazon, that's up 67%. The end phase position here has a slightly higher average cost, that's down 14%. Microsoft up 52%, so also performing quite well. Intel basically flat. I did sell this in my ISA, but planning to keep this in my GIA. JP Morgan doing quite well, that's up 55%. Starbucks up 11%. And the last position, which continuously trends downwards, is Neo. So that's down a massive 75%. At this point in time, I'm just going to hold on to it. Whether it goes down to zero or not, so be it. But yeah, lessons to be learned when buying speculative companies is there's a good chance it could go down massively, as you can see here. So that concludes the GIA update. Let's move over to the Vanguard general account. So the value of my Vanguard account sits at £15,126, and it's made up of now 2 ETFs, because I accidentally bought VWRL instead of VUSA, but I will sell that and move everything into the S&P 500. But the value of the S&P 500, that's £14,567, and is up by £2,535. I've got a reoccurring investment of £200 every month into the S&P 500. Again, this is a taxable account because I'm maxing out my stocks and shares ISA, but I absolutely wouldn't be using this and utilising that £20,000 limit of the stocks and shares ISA, because any capital gains and dividends is tax-free. So that concludes the April 2024 portfolio update. As I said, I will now be making regular videos on a monthly basis, tracking my portfolios, showing you guys what I've been buying and selling and how they've been performing. But that concludes this month's update, and I'll see you next month.